Hi, I'm Andrea. Thanks for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. You will notice that I am standing on a yoga mat. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. Any carpeted area, someplace that's not too slippery, will be fine. I'm barefoot. If you're more comfortable in shoes, that's okay too. I do have a couple of blocks. If you don't have blocks, maybe you've got a couple of thick books that you could use. And I like to have a chair nearby for balance, just in case. We'll start standing at the front edge of your mat with your feet hip distance in a pose called Tadasana, which means mountain pose. It is the bedrock pose of all the poses that we do. And frankly, the one that we use the most out in the world. Feel all 4 points of your feet on the ground. So the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and the 2 points at the heel. You can feel that in your shoes if you're wearing shoes. There's a soft little bit of bend in our knees. So we just want to make sure that we don't lock our knees out. Spin your inner upper arms away from each other and think shoulders over hips, over heels as we stand tall. Lastly, lean your head back. That doesn't mean lift your chin up. Lean your head back so we have ears. Over shoulders, over hips, over heels. We'll pause here for a moment to, as I like to say, stop so that we can start. Now, thumbs to the sky, inhale a V shape overhead, and then exhale, let your arms float along your sides. Again, inhale, arms out and up a V shape. And then float your arms along your side. Twice more like that. Inhale, V shape. Remember the soft bend to your knees. And then exhale, float your arms along your side. Last one. Inhale, arms out and up a V shape. Exhale, float your arms along your sides and feel ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Adding on, inhale, V-shape, arms overhead. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands onto your thighs. Traction your hands onto your thighs. Inhale, grow a little bit longer. Exhale, deepen the hip crease, but don't let your head get lower than your hips. And then inhale, arms out and up, a V-shape. Float your arms along your sides. Again, this is a sun salutation. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs. Inhale, length through your spine. Exhale, increase the hip crease, but remember your head stays high. And then inhale, arms out and up, a V shape overhead. Float your arms along your sides. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, hinge, swan dive, hands to thighs. Inhale, grow taller than you have yet. Exhale, increase the hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky. And then arms along your side. That is my dog with her Kong. She'll be hopping onto a sofa soon. One last time. Inhale, V shape. I forgot to tell you about that prop that you might want to have. Hands on your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Maybe yours is a cat. Hinge at your hips. And then inhale, arms out and up, V shape. Stand into your mountain. Ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Soft bend in your knees. And if you gaze right out in front of you, what I like to call our bright horizon, your chin will stay parallel to the ground. And that position of having your head lean back without lifting your chin will feel pretty natural. 2 moments here. I'm going to give you a setup with blocks. You can also use the base of your chair. If you situate your chair in front of your mat, maybe facing you is kind of a nice way to do that. You can use your chair base as a place to put your hands. And for some of us, I think that's going to feel better. Or your blocks or books at their tallest on the 2 sides of your mat However, not underfoot. So you always want to think of the mindfulness practice being also where we put our stuff so that we don't step on it or trip on it. Now take your mountain pose, facing the short edge of your mat. Again, if you don't have one, just face me so it's easy to see me. Don't worry about the mat. We'll find our Tadasana, our mountain pose, and then we will incorporate our sun salutation and add on. Inhale, arms out and up, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs. Inhale, your heart forward. This is where you can choose to place your hands on the seat of your chair, or you can choose to place your hands on your blocks. But again, we're not collapsing our head below our hips. It's a really important point that I will make many times as we practice together. Now with your knees bent and your head high, step your left foot back. So we're now in a lunge. We're in a lunge with our hands on our blocks or our hands on the seat of our chair. And I'd like for us to build this from the ground up together. Stamp your right heel into your mat and feel that. Bring your right hip back. So it's almost as if you had flashlights on your hip bones and you wanted those to face your chair or to face your blocks. You're not forcing that. You're just letting that be a bit of a plumb line for balance. Your back leg feels almost like if you were doing a plank. So let your thigh bone of your left leg press into your hamstrings, the muscle in the back of your leg, and feel that you're balanced a little bit on the base of your toes. 2 moments just like this. If it starts to feel like the structure is strong, you can be a little bit lighter on your hands. And then we'll step left foot hip distance from right, hands onto your thighs. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, deepen the hinge at your hips. And then inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape overhead. Stand into your mountain. Second side, inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs. Inhale, your heart forward. This time, step your right foot back. Be on the ball of that back foot. Give yourself sideways space. So I didn't really mention that on the first side so much, but in these lunges, in addition to the flashlights on your hip bones that I was saying, if you have sideways space, that can assist in balance. If you prefer your hands on the base of your chair, I think that's perfect, or hands on your books or blocks. And then just imagine as we build it from the ground up, you stamp your left heel into your mat and it draws that left hip back. It feels almost like a very strong plank position that you're doing with your back leg. And you're sure to be breathing the whole time. 2 more moments if you'd like. You can get a little lighter on your hands. That's up to you. Firm through your belly. Step your right foot hip distance from your left and bring your hands to your thighs. Inhale, lengthen to your spine. Exhale, increase the hinge, but keep your head high. And then inhale, arms out and up, a V shape. And stand into your mountain. Adding on. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Inhale, your heart forward, hands to your blocks or the seat of your chair. Step your left foot back. It's like a whole new beginning, like we're beginning again. Even though we're going to add on to the pose, we begin where we were, right? Kind of like a new year or a new week or a new day. Now keep your left hand on your block or on the base of your chair and add a little twist, like the twists and turns of life, or a day or a new year. Your right arm is up to the sky as you twist. You're keeping your head above your hips. We're still steering from the ground up. 2 more moments, just like this. We'll unwind. Right hand to your block, firm through your belly. Step your left foot hip distance from your right, hands onto your thighs. Inhale, length, and exhale, increase the hip hinge. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape, thumbs to the sky, and then stand. And we begin again in our mountain with our second side. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs. Inhale, your heart forward, hands to the base of your chair or to your blocks. Step now your right foot back. Find your lunge, that beginning position that begins again and again. And this side, we take keep our right hand on our block, and left arm spins open to the sky for our careful twist. Keep breathing. See if you can feel your inner upper arms spinning away from each other, so it's a recipe for freedom. You're not scrunching your shoulders into your ears as we're here. And then left hand returns to your block. Step your right foot hip distance from your left, hands onto your thighs. Inhale, traction, lengthen to your spine. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. And then stand as we begin again and again. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Now bring your hands either to your blocks or to the base of your chair. Step your left foot back. This time we will straighten the front leg a little bit or a lot. So we're moving in the direction of straightening it. And because we're building from the ground up, two things. Sideways space, you may want to step your right foot over to the right a little bit. And now we're going to press into that right big toe mound so that we feel the muscles in the front of our legs engage. You can stay on the ball of your back foot if that's easier for you, or turn your back foot flat on its side. We build our pyramid, so you're letting your right hip draw back and your left hip draw forward. A couple of moments here. We're still very careful to keep our head higher than our hips. Spin onto your back toes if you put that back heel down, and step your left foot hip distance from your right. Hands on your thighs, inhale, get length, and then exhale, increase the hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape, and then stand into your mountain pose. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Inhale, traction, some length into your spine. Hands come to the base of your chair or onto your blocks. Step your right foot back. Slow motion, and with your head high, begin to straighten your front leg, pressing into your left big toe mound, giving yourself any sideways space that might be helpful. Think of steering your left hip back and your right hip forward, and again, there is no force there. Maybe it feels okay to turn your back foot on its side. It's actually easier for balance, but maybe a little stickier for the stretch. 2 moments here. And then spin on your back toes and step your right foot hip distance from your left, hands to your thighs. Inhale, heart reaches. Exhale, increase the hinge at your hips a bit, and then inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. Float your arms along your side with your palms facing out. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Take your hands either to the base of your chair or onto your blocks. Make sure that when you step your left foot back, you do not step on any of your props, including your dog or cat. Start to straighten your right leg. You might turn your back foot on its side. Make sure that you keep your head higher than your hips. And then left hand will stay on your block. Spin open, right arm to the sky. We're not forcing this. If you get any sharp pain, that's not something you're supposed to endure. A little rumbling of it being challenging is a good thing, but more than that is not something that we're interested in. Now unwind and bring your right hand onto your block. Spin onto your back toes if you turned that back foot flat. Firm through your belly. Step your left foot hip distance from your right. Hands to your thighs. Inhale, get length. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape. Stand with your palms facing out in your mountain. Second side. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Inhale, extending your heart. Hands either to the base of your chair or hands onto your blocks, and you will step your right foot back. You're still being very careful not to step on a prop or a dog or a cat. And you will straighten your left leg. You're welcome to stay on the ball of the back foot or turn your back foot on its side. Once you feel that your foundation is solid, and you might step your left foot over to the left a little bit for that, right hand stays on your block, left arm up to the sky as we twist, and we pause, and we breathe. And again, no sharp pain. See if you might be shrugging your shoulders into your ears, and just decide not to do that. Spin the inner upper arms away from each other. Let there be freedom. Unwind your left hand onto your block and spin onto your back toes, and then step your right foot hip distance from your left. Hands to your thighs. Inhale, tractioning length. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Inhale, a V shape, arms overhead, and then stand into your mountain, as if we were beginning the practice all over again. There's something called beginner's mind. We want to be interested and curious like beginners. We don't want to be tired know-it-alls that don't feel inspired anymore. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, and then exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. We're going to use the chair or our blocks to carefully step the left foot back and lower that knee to the ground. If you'd like some padding, you could grab one of the throw blankets from your couch or even a folded towel. Now, humble warrior is something I want us to be a little bit careful of our right knee, and also that we don't slump and get our head low. So I'm going to stack my two blocks on top of each other and just make sure that there's a nice straight line from my knee to my ankle. And then I like to keep my back toes curled under. I forgot my blanket today. Not a very good example of things, but that helps too, to curl the toes under, and then just lengthen through your spine. Now, if you can keep this length through your spine and come onto your forearms, you'll probably get a bigger stretch, but again, I don't want us to chase the stretch and then hunch our spine. We can use this humble warrior as a guide for the new year, new day, new week. To be humbled is a good thing. To be humbled is to be living our beginner's mind. Stay for a moment or two of silence, just meditating. Now, if you're on your elbows, come up onto your hands. I like to now take my two blocks and turn them tall. We'll move towards a straight leg with the right leg. So you can scoot that right heel forward a little bit, curl your toes back towards you. Remember our hip hinge that we've rehearsed a number of times in the practice? That's what we do here. So especially if you're bumping up against some tightness in your hamstring, this is not us trying to get our rounded spine and face to our leg. Shift your hips back, find the hinge at your hips. You can always walk the blocks a little bit further. It's sensation that you're after. When you feel the stretch and a long spine, that's all you need. It's not better to get closer to your leg. In fact, oftentimes it's not very helpful. Let's meditate here, shall we? You can close your eyes. Two more moments on this side with this stretch. Our exit is to bend the right knee and stamp the right foot. Take your back knee off your mat. So with your toes curled under, you'll lift that back knee. Step your left foot hip distance from your right, hands to your thighs. Inhale, find that length. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape, and then stand like we're beginning again in our mountain. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands onto your thighs. Inhale, some length into your spine. You can use your hands on the base of your chair or your hands on your blocks. Step your right foot back this time. There might be that padding back there. Lower your knee. So I just want you to not slip on your padding. If you left it in place, it's fine. Back toes staying curled under is a good idea. Let's situate so that our left ankle is right underneath our left knee, and then I like to stack my blocks. You can always just keep the blocks tall. I just like to stack them on top of each other because it gives me a pretty nice platform if I want it to come onto the forearms, but we're strategic, right? We're careful. We hinge at our hip, we don't round and try to get close to the ground. If we're more humbled on one side than the other, that's okay. It happens. And then let's be okay with being silent. Two more moments here. Now come onto your hands if you came onto your forearms. Take your blocks on either side of your left foot, or left leg would be more appropriate to say. I like them tallest. Straighten out your left leg and curl your toes back towards you. And then this is where we get to use the hip hinge that we have rehearsed. So if you walk your blocks forward, it means that you won't be tempted to sort of round over, and you'll stay with the hip hinge, toes curling back. And we can begin again to seek the stillness and the silence here. Different exit on this side. Bend your left knee and stamp your left foot. Keep your hands on your blocks or even on the base of your chair. Left knee next to right knee in a child's pose. So you'll sit back on your heels. If this is uncomfortable at all to you, you can always put a bolster or your folded blanket behind your thighs and be a little bit more forward, so it's almost like a hands and knees. Knee flexion is a fancy way of saying bending your knees a lot. So if it's not great to bend your knees a lot for whatever reason, you don't have to. You can rest your forehead on the ground or on a block. Just digest for a moment what we've done so far so that we can take that feeling of a beginner, that feeling, that sense that we're beginning again and again with a fresh newness. Come up from your child's pose, a seated cross-legged position. Let's take the right shin in front, and instead of crossing at the heels, walk your feet together like I'm doing, or like slide the shins together. Sit up nice and tall. You might prefer to sit on the cushion or folded blanket. And then we'll take a moment here, palms up or down, to find length through our spine, and to remember the hip hinge that we just did in that straight-legged fold and even in our humble warrior. If you want to, you can use your blocks and walk those out in front of you. Very similar to our straight-legged pose, but now here in a cross-legged seat. Remember, rounding your face to the ground is not what we're about. If you're getting sensation and feedback in the hip rotators and anywhere else that's a little tight, maybe inner thighs, it's all good. Let's sip our stillness and our silence for a few moments here. Now walk your blocks back, walk yourself up. It sometimes is nice to just waggle your legs straight in between sides and then left shin in front. We reconstruct our cross-legged seat. I like to scoot back a little bit. I know sometimes we feel like we want to scoot forward and we're just crowding onto our shins. So scooting back a little bit, perhaps using your blocks, finding that hinge at your hips. Curious about the sensation, not trying to be a cross-legged know-it-all, because really none of us are. So you stretch your hips, your inner thighs, and your curiosity, and together we stretch the time between the conversation that we're having, but also the thoughts in our head, with a little dusting of meditation here. Walk your blocks back to you and let your blocks go off to the side. It's been an interesting prop day, hasn't it? I had a living, breathing prop. I forgot a prop. It happens. And still we can practice. There will always be something. The world is swirling. Even when we sit and meditate, the world swirls around us, but we can begin again and again to recommit to the space, to the stretch, to the curiosity. Take your legs out in front of you and give them a waggle. And then make your way into Shavasana, which is our final pose, but really is also the beginning of the new practice after. So lie down and we will finish. Feet flop apart. Sort of like Tadasana, but lying down. You can close and even cover your eyes here. This is where we receive our new beginning, like gifts from the universe. Total surrender. Shavasana meditation. Welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation as long as you'd like. If you're ready to find your way back, wiggle your fingers and toes as if we were waking up all over again. Stretch in opposite directions. Feel yourself refreshed and renewed. And then gather your knees into your chest and roll to either side. Come up to any kind of comfortable seat. Could even be the cross-legged position that we were just in. And feel, though we're done with our practice, it allows us to feel like we're ready to begin in a whole new way. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me.